My name is Holland Wood, and I'm going to share with you my family's nightmare with Blue Cross Blue Shield. My father's name is Samuel Dennis Wood, and he's 88 years old. He's a former employee for the city of Detroit and now retired. He lives in Miami, Florida. Recently, his health has failed him a bit, and so he's had to spend some time in hospitals. After each hospital stay, he's significantly weakened and has to spend time in a rehabilitative center to get additional therapies in order for him to regain his strength and return home. In his case, rehab consists of three things: physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. The speech therapy is important because without it, my father's not able to swallow properly and therefore has to have food by tube instead of by mouth. Because he's had several trips to the hospital, his Medicare coverage for rehab days was exhausted. However, he had a Blue Cross Blue Shield policy that allowed extended days for rehab services. And our family thought that because he was a 40-plus year customer of Blue Cross Blue Shield, getting into those extended days would be easy. We were wrong. Now I'm going to do my best to diagram for you what went on, so perhaps you'll get a feel for why we're calling this a Blue Cross nightmare. As I mentioned, my father was getting rehab services in a facility, and let's just call it Facility A. Facility A had two parts to it. The first is a rehab center that costs about $600 per day. It's that expensive because of all the services that are needed and the highly trained professionals that you have to have on staff. In addition, Facility A had a standard nursing home side, and that was a lot less expensive, though still very expensive at $200 per day. And my father was in the rehab services side, getting the care that he needed. But as I mentioned, his Medicare coverage ran out. And so we contacted Blue Cross to verify that he had coverage for extended days. And they did indeed say that he had coverage for the extended days. However, they said that Facility A was not within their network. And so they said we'd have to move him to another facility in order to get our claim processed. So we figured it wasn't a big deal. We'd work with them to get approval. But in the meantime, the cost of rehab wasn't paid for, and so his services had to be interrupted. The family, in paying out of pocket, had to move him to the nursing home side of the Facility A. And again, our intent was just to do this temporarily in order to get approval to move him to Facility B and have his coverage reenacted. And that's where we ran into all the problems. Blue Cross Blue Shield engaged in what I call just a series of paperwork and process shenanigans. They contacted Facility B and asked for numerous papers and reports, faxing back and forth, calling them on a phone number that's always busy. In fact, Facility B reported to us that they routinely had to spend 2 hours on the phone just to get to someone to check the status on our account. In addition, they contacted Facility A asking for similar information, back and forth with faxes, actually accomplishing absolutely nothing in weeks of time going down the drain. Finally, Blue Cross Blue Shield asked for my father's primary care physician to call and speak with their physicians and to justify the need for rehab services. This despite the fact that the physician had weeks before mailed a letter to Blue Cross and Blue Shield urging them to approve this care, stating that my father will not regain full function without the care that's required and given in rehab services. After about 4 weeks of toiling and getting really nothing accomplished other than sending papers back and forth, Blue Cross denied our claim, stating that my father was currently not receiving rehab services. Again, he was on the nursing home side of Facility A, and because he was not receiving rehab services, he was not in need of rehab services. And so they denied his claim because we were waiting for them to approve his claim. And that is how a 40-plus year customer of Blue Cross Blue Shield was treated. So my father is left with few options. Here's a picture of him with my mother, his faithful wife for many years, and they, along with their 3 sons, London Wood, myself, Holland Wood, and Juarez Wood, are battling with Blue Cross Blue Shield, a multi-billion-dollar corporation, trying to get them to do the right thing. And that's the reason we created this website, Blue Cross Nightmares, so that we could share our story with others and we could see who else was receiving similar treatment and would like to join efforts to bring an end to this kind of participation on behalf of a major healthcare provider. So you might be asking, is there anything that you can do to help? Well, there are a couple things. Number one, if you're with a company and in benefits administration, contact your Blue Cross representative, let them know about this site, and ask them how they're going to guarantee that your employees are not going to end up as one of our featured stories. You have the right to ask those questions, I think. Secondly, if you're in the market for healthcare insurance or you have Blue Cross, consider have Blue Cross currently, ask them questions. Send them this website and ask them, hey, how am I going to be sure that I'm not going to be on this website along with all these other victims? If you're reading and hearing about this story and similar ones, and you just want to provide moral or even financial support, contact us. We'd be glad to hear from you. And finally, if you're actually living a Blue Cross nightmare like my family, tell us your story and we'll highlight it as well. All the details are on our website for contacting us and sending us email and working with us. Thank you for helping out, and thank you for watching this presentation.